Hello, everyone. My name is DimitriusMac, and welcome to the Week 3 recap of fantasy football of our Fantasy Wrath League. Today, I'm joined with Isaiah once again for the first time in the season. Glad to have you here, man.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine, my good sir. Let's get into it. I'm ready to talk about this fantasy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wish I could say we were both in a better spot right now, but we have a combined in wins total of 0 wins. We're probably one of the most disappointed, and I know we're disappointed in each other because we were definitely thinking to having a better season, but we just have put up stinkers, and honestly, I think it starts with Thursday night. Thursday night was a big part of Week 2. And who would have known that the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams would put up such numbers?
Yes.
It was just bad. You got big performances from the likes of Pierre Garcon, from Brian Hoyer, from Carlos Hyde. And then on the other side, you got big performances from Sammy Watkins and Jared Goff and especially Todd Gurley with 3 touchdowns. It was just a lot to take in, and you'll see the scores, how they represented our league in just a second. All right, folks, so we have the Week 3 lineups right here, and the people who won, the people who got destroyed, absolutely. So as you guys can see, I got absolutely demolished by ESO Legends, never bowing down, put it on Supremacy. 2-point difference right here. And we'll, of course, get into that. And Dabalas did indeed lose to the Murder Boners, pushing them up to a 2-1. And the Suge Knights defeated the Fundraisers, pushing them up to 3-0. But starting off, I guess, as usual, we'll talk about my matchup here. And there's not really much to talk about other than there was a huge disparity in performance with the players, obviously. Mm-hmm. But having something like a Kelvin Benjamin get injured the way he did, and he's starting for you, that's going to be a lot of points that were potentially a lot of points that were left out on the board. But Carolina just absolutely got outplayed in that game. It just wasn't something that was in their cards to win, even I think if they had Kelvin Benjamin healthy. Other than that, on my side, you don't see anything too spectacular. You see Carlos Hyde, of all people, leading the front here. And on the other side, you have players who perform like Odell and Stephon Diggs and Gronkowski, and you see this team is really, really good. This is a really stacked team, and they just had everything going ahead. And then to helm this, you have Todd Gurley. I mean, Todd Gurley had 113 rushing yards and a touchdown, 36 receiving yards and and it was just a lot. And we go to the bench here, and there's a lot of points left on this bench, folks. We have Ben Roethlisberger with 12, which is nothing really to hawk at or anything, but T.Y. Hilton with 21 points, that could have helped me. Chris Thompson with 24, that could have helped me. Even Tariq Cohen with 10 points could have helped me. But the thing I do want to point out, and I don't think this is something that's going to be quite common occurrence, is the defenses both, we got a combined -5 points from our defenses, and
wow,
it was just very peculiar to see something like that. But there was a lot of points left for me on the bench. Sammy Watkins on the end, he had a spectacular game, and he was left on the bench here, fortunately for me, but not really so fortunate because I still ended up losing. So overall, even if I had played all of my players, I don't think anything would have mattered. It wouldn't even matter even with this matchup.
Well, and like you had stated, what really, really affected the W was Todd Gurley. Like ESO Legends, shout out to him. He does have a really stacked team. To me, looking at your team, I would not have started Alshon Jeffrey. I know he's expected to do well this year. He's kind of been quiet. I would have started the guy on your bench, T.Y. Hilton instead.
Yeah,
I would have started
Browns.
him. Yes, for sure. But like you're saying, there's not much you can do against that. Nobody expected that Thursday night game to go as it did, like you stated. And, it's nothing you can really do. It's a tough loss. It's a tough loss.
It's a tough loss. And I think what you said about Alshon is right. I do expect him to have a bigger role in this week versus the Chargers. But as far as him being involved, I know it could be up and down with him because I know he's going to get the targets and the catches. It's just what is he going to do with them? But T.Y., I feel like it's the same thing. I was just so terrified of this Colts offense, I didn't feel the need to really play. I mean, I was terrified because I didn't know what was going to happen. But I should have realized that they were playing the Browns. But I was scared that it was going to be one of those games where the Browns was going to put it on them, and they didn't put it on them. They almost came back and beat them, but T.Y. did his thing. We have the second game of the day or of the past week. Folks ever bowing down to supremacy. And the crazy thing for me here was the fact that in this week we had Tyreek Hill do his thing, and we had a very, very, very quiet Jason Witten. And if you look at Jason Witten, what he's done in the past, he's been targeted he's got a whole hell of a lot of catches. It looks like Dax is really trying to involve him in this passing game, which says to me, like, okay, that automatically puts him up to the top, like almost like, near Jordan Reed and Gronkowski level, which the Jason Witten we haven't seen in God knows how long. But that was very good for him, obviously, having your tight end, perform like that. Not this past week versus Arizona, but in the previous 2 weeks. And then also some notable standouts. Tyreek Hill does his thing. Dak Prescott doing his thing. Dalvin Cook, the rookie sensation, doing his thing. He has 2 rookie sensations on his team. Don't know how the hell. I mean, this is just talking. This is just pure like putting your faith in the unknown. Turns out it working with Leonard Fournette and Dalvin Cook. They are both studs, and they are both going to have. We're not even talking about are they going to do well. Is this just a one season thing? In the here and now, they're performing, especially fantasy wise. And on the other side, Tom Brady is Tom Brady, so there's nothing really to speak on there. I mean, it's just it almost seems unfair sometimes because he's 40 years old and he's still able to do something like this.
It's crazy you say that because I don't know if you got any of that game. Tom Brady did some amazing things against Houston that day. Yeah. And, I feel like a lot of Houston fans were at the edge of their seat because they really felt like Deshaun Watson was going to take them to beat the Patriots. And he almost did.
Yeah,
he almost did. But like you're saying, Tom Brady is a freak of nature.
Yeah. And it was just... It was just crazy to watch. We realized that, why one person is considered the, quote, living GOAT, even though I don't acknowledge the man as that. I
don't know why.
He is, but, and the other one was a rookie, Yeah, you saw the difference at the end of the game, and there's that reason. On the other ends, we have nothing else spectacular. Golden Tate, abysmal performances by the entire Raiders offense. Amari Cooper absolutely doing nothing. Ty Montgomery, hope he gets well soon because this previous Thursday night, this is being recorded on Friday after week 4, after the week 4 Thursday night game. Ty Montgomery is out right now, I think with broken ribs or possibly broken ribs or some bruised ribs or something. But even versus Cincinnati, he didn't get much done. And looking at the bench here, Kirk Cousins was left on the bench, respectfully so, because who would have thought he would do? Yeah, I mean, do you even need anybody else ever?
Nope.
No, you're not.
Tom Brady.
And Brandon Cooks, 27 points on the bench. Not that he needed him, because Never Bowing Down came out with a W here. And that's pretty much it. And it's crazy because he has 2 really good Minnesota players on the offense, and I thought I'd never be saying something like that because Thielen is really good, and so is Dalvin Cook and Stephon Diggs and Rudolph is in the red zone, and it's looking like they have an offense, but do they have a quarterback?
That's the problem.
Yeah, is that they don't have a quarterback. So overall here, folks, it was a pretty good game, but at the end of the day, Tom Brady can't save you when the rest of your team is just not performing.
Yeah. For future reference, guys, Leonard Fournette, anytime the Jaguars play in London, they are going off. It is a fact. At this point. Yes, anytime. If you ever have players from the Jaguars organization and they are playing in London, start them. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. I guarantee you it is a W.
Oh, well, might want to fact check that, folks, but I believe in him. I believe he's not trying to feed you into some nonsense.
And another thing, Brandon Cooks, this was his first breakout game on the Patriots organization, and that's a big deal because they have so many different weapons. And for me, I doubted it. I didn't think that he would do well this year, and the first couple of games he did not do well. So this breakout game says a lot for him.
Now we could talk about our guest game here. This very close-knit game, and And I'm gonna go down here, and you guys can see for yourself. I'm gonna see if you guys can notice what went wrong here. There's a bunch of things, obviously, you could say, but if you really look, like I'll give you a few seconds here, like truly look and see what just absolutely out of everything, and you could say it's Greg Olson, not performing. Oh, I'm sorry, that's for the kid guy next, but over here, this is the Isaiah's team right here. And you see this, you see J.J. Nelson, you're like, oh man, so they had traded out injuries. That is not the case. J.J. Nelson indeed played. He was healthy. He was held without a catch. And we could have used just a 20-yard game. He's the deep ball guy on the team. So all I needed was one play, and he takes this win. He had great performances from Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. And he was ready to take this and get his first win, but JJ just really did a number on you, man.
And you know what? Here's the thing. I went into, because they played Monday night, and so I went into the game 2 points down. The kid got next. His entire roster had already played, and I'm going into Monday, and I'm like, oh, I definitely got this. Like, he was on limited practice all last week. He was coming in questionable, but he was good to play. The man saw 3 targets. Didn't catch any of them, and couldn't give me that 2 points. And this would have been my first W, and it hurts because I lost to a player who's seemingly inactive. He started Greg Olson, and Greg Olson is injured. So, and I still took the L, and it hurt. That hurt.
Yeah, that definitely is disheartening to have something like this happen to you, especially so early in the season when you're looking for your first W. And it hurts because we don't know if our previous champion is playing. We don't know. Because
that's not our previous champion.
Well, Dion is, but I'm talking about not the defending champion. Okay. And we don't know where he's at. But obviously this bold to say that maybe he was just taking it. Maybe he was expecting the L and was like, hey, I don't care, because he doesn't have. Well, he does have Hunter Henry, but Hunter Henry doesn't do anything, does he? He doesn't play. He's not last year. So and Deshaun Jackson was on the bench. He performed pretty well in Minnesota. Gonna say that obviously would have put him ahead, but it was playing at Minnesota, and Tampa Bay isn't exactly a juggernaut offensively. So
exactly,
what can you do? But just move on. Game 4, folks. Murder Boners versus the Ballers here. Another player who we may think is inactive here is the Ballers, because he seemingly keeps leaving Jordan Howard on the bench. Although this past week for week 4, that would have been a very, very good decision to do so. And I'll talk about that obviously more next week for next week's show. But over here, real quick, Devontae Freeman, Ezekiel Elliott. That he has probably the best duo of running backs in our fantasy league right here. And when other players perform, like Mike Evans, like they didn't this week or this for week 3, but you're going to get a set amount of points from these two, from Freeman and Elliott, each and every week. So all he really else needs to, he's got good receivers with Mike Evans and Devontae Adams. And by the way, Devontae Adams, if you didn't see this Thursday night game, he took a very, very scary helmet to helmet, I believe, to his face. Or helmet to the face of the face mask, and it was very concerning. Like, he was motionless on the field for a while. So I'm hoping that he gets better. I'm not speaking as a fantasy fan that wants to see this player. I'm speaking as a football fan that wants to see somebody get better and wants to see their health above everything else. So I hope Devontae Freeman is all right, because that was a pretty nasty hit that he took at the end of the game last night. But other than that, here we have nothing really spectacular. The Chiefs defense played pretty well, but it was really just the running backs. And then on the other side, Le'Veon Bell finally had his first good game. Doug Baldwin had a good game, but now Doug Baldwin is injured and probably not going to play. So the Ballers really have something to look out for if they are indeed playing. And we'll see. This could be our second inactive player. Hopefully not, but we'll see. And moving on to, once again, what I thought was going to be the game of the week. And I seem to get these wrong each and every week. Because last week I thought the Suge Knights versus the Kid Got Next was going to be the game of the week. It turned out to be a blowout. This one turned out to be a blowout as well. And just, our league champion is just...
He's going off, man.
It's hard to really sit here and witness this, because And you wouldn't, as a league that we run, we do our hardest to make sure no one has any prayer of repeating. But this is a legitimate like chance that he's going to repeat this, and I don't know. I don't know if the league can handle that. I don't know. We might implode because, um, it's like that's gonna be hard. I know it's very early on. It's only week 3 or week 4 technically, but it's just with this team. It just looks so nice. It looks like everything can come together so great. Even when other players don't, like Travis Kelce didn't perform. Oh well, look who made up for it. Larry Fitzgerald.
And the number one thing is I know you're saying that it's early, and I agree with you. It is early in our league. However, he has Kareem Hunt.
He does have Kareem.
And that is like the man has put up crazy numbers. When you talk about stars who are supposed to be performing, they're supposed to be putting up numbers like this. The last game you just reviewed, you talked about Le'Veon Bell having his best game. He only put up 15 points in our fantasy league.
Yeah.
And that's underperforming if you ask me, considering what he did last year. And in those kinds of games, people have been really quiet, and Kareem Hunt has been very loud.
Yes.
So the Suge Knights, he has a great chance at repeating.
He does. He really does. And there's really nothing much, to go with, Phil, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you probably are at some point. Like we spoke about, the team just laid a dud, and sometimes that happens. There's nothing significant to talk about on this list because nobody performed anything. Nothing from really big from Julio or DeAndre or Jordan. Jordan didn't even play. And there's nothing really. The entire team, you can see up and down, nothing. Lions defense with the second highest scoring on his team, and they were on the bench. He had the Panthers defense, which got absolutely dismantled. But the other side, Frank Gore performing, Marcus Mariota performing. So the Suge Knights, they are a legitimate concern. And you see why we are concerned, being the 0-3 people that we are.
Yeah.
I haven't even matched up with him yet. And so that's what's really, if I was playing all the big juggernauts, I'd want to get him over with right now. And then the fact that I haven't played him yet just scares me even more because I don't know if I'm ready to face a team like this. But I guess we'll have to see.
And the key thing, we're going to talk about this in depth later on. The Suge Knights he's in the waiver wires. Yeah. He's in the waiver wires every single week. He's chasing after these players. He's keeping up with the NFL pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to, especially in our league, because we definitely be lurking and players are not performing like we expect them to, so you got to go with other options. And where are you going to find that? In the waivers. Okay, folks, it is now part of that time of the show where we're just going to go through all the pickups and we'll see if there's people who are going to possibly impact and people who are probably not going to impact, and even more or less of a pickup this week than last week. We got pickups like Chris Carson and Sterling Shepard, Chris Hogan, Jacksonville defense, LeGarrette Blount, Deshaun Watson, Bruce Ellington. Actually, Bruce Ellington was recently dropped. He was picked up and then dropped almost immediately, which I found hilarious. But, I'm not going to question anything that our league champion is doing. Randall Cobb and then the New Orleans Saints defense. So, out of anything on this list, what do you think out of our Week 4 pickups? Does anything stand out to be a big major factor for the upcoming week?
Deshaun Watson. I have to say the kid is good. I mean, he's a rookie. To be that much of a force to be reckoned with against a veteran team like the Patriots in that week, I was pretty impressed. Very impressed. So I think that he can put up some real numbers. Like if they can protect him well enough for him to get the ball out quick, his numbers are increasing weekly. And so I think Deshaun Jackson is a pretty large pickup.
All right. I think for me, Randall Cobb did what I needed him to do for me last night. He got me about 10 points. And I think I think there's a chance that that LeGarrette Blount can do something, but we'll see because they are going into Los Angeles, and we don't know what the situation is going to be. Are they going to give Wendell Smallwood more carries, or are they going to give LeGarrette Blount more carries? I think it's possible that they could give Wendell Smallwood more carries, but I think at the goal line, I think LeGarrette Blount should own that, and I think they should get to the goal line a lot, playing the Chargers. But other than that, I don't think anything else is going to be a huge pickup, except possibly Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan is a top 10 receiver, I think, right now, in fantasy-wise. Guess who picked him up? Yeah, I was going to say, the league champion. So we'll see. Chris Carson is a maybe. CJ Prosise is out, so if you picked him up, you should be happy there. You should at least get the carries, but we'll see. Other than that, I don't think there's nothing that's too big. I don't think there's a monster thing besides Deshaun Watson, but of course we will see how all of that pans out. Okay, folks, this is the last part of the show where we talk about the matchup. Well, in the past 2 weeks, I've talked about my matchup for the coming week, but we have a guest this week, so we will also go ahead and talk about their matchup. So just a really quick and up and down thing. Davante Adams on the other side for the Murder Boners. He is currently sitting at 2-1, and we have Randall Cobb here who had 44 receiving yards and a touchdown, getting me 10 points. Really good for me. It's unfortunate that he lost Davante Adams, but Davante Adams did get him 7 points. So it's not the best in the world, but at least it's something. And we look at, obviously, Devontae Freeman. They have both home matchups versus teams that they should do pretty dang good at. So those are going to be the team or the players that I'm going to be keeping the most eye on. For me, players that need to perform, I need my receivers to perform. I need AJ and I need Alshon to do really, really well, especially AJ playing Cleveland. You know, I just need that to happen, and I need my my Chris Carson bet to pay off. I really do. And Carlos Hyde, we'll see. My quarterback thing, the only is bothering me is my quarterbacks: Ben Roethlisberger at Baltimore or Matt Stafford at Minnesota. Those are hard. Now, some of you may be saying that Baltimore is like, oh, Baltimore got ran through. But it's still, this is divisional. We don't know what's going to happen because things change when it turns divisional.
Yeah, and both teams they're coming off of a loss with Pittsburgh losing to the Bears. Yeah, and like you're saying, Baltimore losing to the Jaguars. Yeah. So that, I don't know. I think I would start Ben Roethlisberger over Matthew Stafford. Buffalo is hot. They just stopped Denver. And I think that they might try to shut Devontae Freeman up. So that's something to watch out for.
It is true. But I believe that Buffalo was at home last week, were they not?
That is correct.
And they're at home this week again. So we'll see. We'll see how much they really want it. You know, if they're going to try and challenge the Patriots, even though we all know that that's not going to happen. But, you know, we'll see. And now look at this, folks. You're off to a pretty good start. 42-0 lead. Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson have to thank for that. I mean, Jordy Nelson had 4 catches, and 2 of those catches were for touchdowns, which is pretty dang spectacular. I don't think he could have asked more for this, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about it. I'm very happy. I'm looking over some of the players on our commissioner's team, and it's about 4 of them kind of injured, 5 of them kind of injured. And I don't know, my kind of injured players have not been performing well, so I'm hoping that this could be another blowout, like he got whooped by the Suge Knights.
Go ahead, say how you really feel.
You know what? It's okay. I'm not, I hope he watches this. I'm coming for that ass, okay?
There you have it, folks. There you have it. That is our recap. We're going to end on on that note, I will say. And we'll see. Both of us need victories. We do, because we're in a very tough spot. You know, there's nothing worse sounding after you go 0-3 than saying you're going 0-4.
But you know what? Look at our history. We've been in the playoffs. Both of us. I believe we've been to the playoffs both years.
No.
No?
No.
I didn't?
You were in the playoffs last year, the year before that.
The year before I didn't?
No.
Okay, that's fine. That was probably my first year.
It was.
It's okay.
If you have to win a playoff game, but you know.
That's what's up. But I will bounce back, okay?
Well, we'll see about that. You know, you got a 42 lead. Don't blow this 42 lead.
I won't blow it. Go Giants. I'm starting Sterling Shepard, by the way.
Well, I don't know about that. You know, hopefully Jaquiz doesn't go off for a lot.
Look at his numbers.
Well, go ahead and do you. But that is it, folks, for the recap. If you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new here and you think you deserve, and you think we deserve a subscriber, or I deserve a subscriber, I almost said we. You know, I feel like, you know, I'm so inclusive when I have guests on this show.
Respect.
So, make sure you click that subscribe button. With that being said, folks, I'll see you all in the next video. The show will return next week. Good luck to you in your fantasy this weekend. And we are out. Peace.